This is the first hearing, John, Senate hearing looking into what happened on that day, January 6th. In fact, what happened leading up to that day, as you heard the questioning from many of the senators there. What really stood out with the opening remarks from the acting chief of D.C. Metropolitan Police early on saying, I was surprised at the reluctance to immediately send in the National Guard to these Capitol riots. He and his agency said that they had requested officers from as far away as New Jersey and that Army staff expressed concerns over the optics of boots on the ground at the Capitol. So we continue to see the questioning there on Capitol Hill.
And one of the things we also heard was the fact that the local police forces in charge of securing the Capitol did not know of the intelligence that the FBI received that there could be that sort of an action. And then there's also some disagreement on when the National Guard was requested versus when the National Guard was called in. Let's bring in Republican Senator Sen Kennedy of Louisiana. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. What do you make of the claims that the intelligence was not shared, and then again the contradictions between when the National Guard was requested and when they were deployed?
Well, we're starting to peel back the onion here. Look, and we all know this, John and Sandra, nut jobs violated the Capitol. They ought to be punished. Nut jobs this summer violated Portland and Chicago and Atlanta and other cities. They need to be punished. In terms of the nut jobs at the Capitol, we know that some of the rioting was pre-planned. The FBI knew about it ahead of time. What did the FBI do with the information? Did they sit there like a bump on a log, or did they tell somebody? Who did they tell? Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but we need to find out. I do know that some of the leadership in the House spent the entire summer calling law enforcement officials stormtroopers. So did that bias, it's inaccurate, but they're entitled to their opinion, this is America, did their attitude that all law enforcement officials are stormtroopers affect their decision to protect the Capitol on the day of the riots? We need to find out.
Senator, there are other members of Congress who obviously agree with you. We're also hearing that Pentagon leaders will be called before lawmakers next week in some capacity. Jennifer Griffin reporting on that, that the Pentagon leaders will have to answer questions, what they knew, when they knew it, and what precautions were obviously made. Senator, what questions do you have? We're listening to these lawmakers, obviously wanting to get to the bottom of why that happened inside of our Capitol. It still stops you when you look at these pictures.
Well, Sandra, this isn't complicated. They need to bring in Chris Wray or one of his top lieutenants and say, okay, what did you know about the Washington riots before they happened? And when did you know it? And who did you tell? And then call in the people that they say they told, not their staffers, the people, and say, okay, here's what Chris Wray said. Is it accurate? And what did you do about the information? Now, you know, a good trial lawyer can do that in a day. And let's find out what happened. And if somebody had, because of their bias against law enforcement, refused to protect the Capitol, I'm not saying that's the case, then by God, they ought to man up or woman up and say so and let the American people know.
Senator, this hearing will continue. We'll continue to monitor it. There is